All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Corey, and the Noles are now 1-8. I've got a few things to say about it. I'm going to make this video pretty quick because the Seminoles don't have much to talk about, to be honest. Nothing good, at least, and I don't like to make my videos completely negative the whole time. My dad's been a Florida State fan for the last, 52 years, and he's never seen a team this bad. I personally think Mike Norvell has a few things going on. It's all theories, obviously, but I might talk about those here in a second. But first off, yeah, the players, they look terrible out there. There's no schemes on the defense that are working. We can't seem to do simple things. We can't use any kind of rush, any kind of momentum to get going here with what we need to do against these teams. I mean, we're playing UNC today, and we got our ass whooped by UNC, which is pathetic. That dude Hampton, I haven't watched UNC at all other than the game. I watched some of the highlights on the game when James Madison put up 70 on him, but UNC is not a powerhouse team. They are not a team where they should be just out there whooping our ass, and this dude Hampton went for 5 touchdowns and 200-something yards. Mac Brown's first win over Florida State. And yeah, it's just humiliating at this point. I mean, they're 1-8. Like, that is unprecedented. I don't think it's ever happened. I could not find an example, personally, in my research, where a team had gone from undefeated in the regular season to 1-8 the next season, possibly 1-9 because we play Notre Dame next week. So it's not looking good for Florida State right now. Our quarterback situation is dire. I don't know what we're going to do about that. Luke doesn't look good. I mean, he's young. He's still, figuring out what he's going to do. Brock Glenn has had some experience now, and he did throw a touchdown today. But, man, everything else these guys do, I don't know if it's the offensive line. I don't know if it's the players just aren't good around them. But these quarterbacks, man, and just in general, the offense looks like a high school team. Like, Toa Feely has regressed. He had a couple plays that weren't too bad, but he has regressed as a running back. And yeah, there's just not much good to say about the team. The coaching's bad. The playing is bad. We still can't score 21 points in a game, which is insane to me. But there are some players on there that still look okay. Ja'Kai Douglas, he's not too bad. Portier is not too bad. I mean, some of these guys, they don't make plays consistently, but they're at least out there, doing what they can. Malik Benson's not too bad. But they just don't seem to have the momentum. They seem to not be able to do it all themselves. You need players who can, kind of build around each other. And right now it seems like Florida State doesn't have that. So for me, I think the bigger issue is that going forward, what do you do, right? Like, what do you do at this point? I personally, Mike Norvell, let's go through the theories that I have. Either one, he's got a big contract on the offseason. He got snubbed for the college football playoff last year, and when he got that big contract, that's all he cared about. He is checked out. He doesn't care. At this point, he's trying to get fired as fast as he can just to get the payday and move on from this, because I think that just broke him so hard that he's just given up entirely. I mean, he doesn't, at least it seems like a different person on the sideline than what we saw last year. So it's just hard to tell if that's from a situation like that or not. Other than that, maybe he's really just struggling with the talent. I mean, that's possible. Maybe these guys just aren't as good as they thought they were. I just don't know what you would have seen in DJU instead of Cam Ward. I don't understand that. And we're paying money for these guys. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then at the same time, Mike Norvell goes out and tries to up his, buyout and his contract and all this different stuff, and now he's locked in, and he's getting the brunt of this stuff. But you watch his press conferences, and it seems like he's just on autopilot. Like, he's literally got the same script. Like, if you were to play a drinking game with all the things that he does in the press conference, you'd be blackout in 5 minutes. I mean, for example, if you did a bingo card of, okay, disappointed, the second he says disappointed, take a shot. Every time he says, take a shot, because he gets real nervous, says that a bunch. He's probably going to thank the other team, like, right off the bat. And talk about a little bit of building or faith or some kind of confidence. Like, it's all the same crap, man.
All right, obviously, very disappointing outcome. Congratulations, Carolina. They did a great job and really dominated the game. In pretty much all phases. Offense, defense, special teams. We have to be better than what we put on display today. I thought our guys, they worked in preparation, but did not have the application for what I expected, what I was anticipated seeing.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
It's all the same crap. If you watch his press conference, it literally seems like he has the same script with just inputs names and schools and players in the same spots. He dances around questions. He rambles way too much. He just doesn't seem like he really cares. It doesn't seem like he's focused. So I don't know what's going on there. And the other side is to say maybe he's just done with it. Maybe he's given up. He's quit. Maybe it's not because he wants to, but maybe he's just quit like the players. I mean, it seems like the players today quit. There was a play, I want to say a second or third down, hits Hampton 10 yards into the play. I think it was like a second or third and 11 or something like that. And sure enough, he runs for like a 50-yard touchdown. Nobody even touches the guy, man. It was like, dude, and we were down at that point. We were still down like 10 points. You got to make a play. You got to do something. And it seems like every time we have a chance to do something in the game, we made a fourth down stop on the goal line at one point. Fitzgerald hit a big field goal to put us up 3 at the beginning, but we just couldn't capitalize. And it's one thing to go down, like, yeah, I get it. But you got to go out there and capitalize in the moments, and it just seems like this team is just unfocused. Like they're trying so hard to just do a couple things right that inevitably you're going to do some stuff wrong too. You're not used to getting things right, so it's pathetic to watch. It's sad because Florida State is definitely something where in my entire lifetime they've never been this bad. I mean, ever. Like I thought Willie Taggart era was bad, and I mean, right now I dream of 6-6. To be honest, like I dream of it. I'm like, dude, I remember when just not making a bowl was like the end of the world. We're 1-8, man. This is insane. Like my head hurts. This is just, that's why I say there's not much to talk about. It's more, what do you do from here? I think you got to move on from Norvell after this. Again, I don't know if he's checked out, if this is truly just the talent isn't good. Personally, the way I see it is that he's given up. He said, dude, fuck it. Like, we had a good team last year. This team's not nearly as good. Why do I care? Let me just get paid and get out of here. At this point, if he's guaranteed $70 million, you got to hope that he's probably just like, fire me, give me that $70 million, and I'll do whatever little coaching jobs. It doesn't matter. At that point, I'm set for life. So what's he got to lose? Yeah, and the hard part for me is it's just, you got a fan base here that's diehard for Florida State, and they want to see Florida State win. And I think what's really killing it, personally, I think the problem is that you've got a bunch of transfer portal kids who aren't that good. First, they might be good on paper, but they're not that good on the field. And then they don't have passion to play for Florida State. Like, you need players who are confident and passionate about playing for their team. They want to play for a certain school. They need pride in the team that they play for. If you don't have pride and culture in the school and in the team, then you're just not going to have a successful formula. It's the way college football has worked for over 100 years. This is a school pride. These guys don't get paid. They're showing what they can do and how good they can be before they get to the next level. A lot of these guys are getting paid to play now, and it's just it's so motivated by money that I think that's what Florida State's problem is you've got to move on from the money motivation. Stop paying these guys that are going to come out and suck, and you can't do that. This isn't the NFL. It's one thing to go into the NFL, be a bust. We see it all the time. But at least at that point, you've earned the right to be in the NFL, and it's truly a job. You guys right now are college students, and the reason we're even talking about this is because people have given, this, oh, well, you need to pay these kids. They go out there and they put all this time and effort into it. It's like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, I'm a drummer. You think I've just suddenly was given the ability to be a drummer? Like, no, I still worked my ass off for the last 20 years to get gigs and to get good at my instrument. Nobody comes in here and just pays me for that. So Florida State's got some problems. I think that's what you really need to do is go to the drawing board. Go back to finding kids who want to play for your team, not just kids who are going there because they think it's prestigious. You need guys who want to play for Florida State University, people who understand Seminole culture and want to fear the spear more than anything in the world. Like, you need those guys who dream of playing for Florida State. You need people who want to be there. And sometimes, whatever that factor is, whether you got a good coach, whether you got a good culture, whether you got a school they just grew up loving, you need to figure out those people. Because for me, when I was a kid, man, I dreamed of playing for Florida State. The Florida State, Florida rivalry, the Florida State-Miami rivalry, that shit was the best thing in the world to me. And I was willing to go out there, lay my life on the line to go play for them schools. Now, I played football up until, middle school or high school. I think first year high school level, I gave up. I got more into music. I got more into, extreme sports. But football was one of my first passions, and it was something I never got to chase. So when I see a lot of these kids, I think, man, I'd love to see more people come out of this team and, really make their due. Speaking of which, I think I used to know the brother of Derek Noddy. He's in Kansas City Chiefs now, but yeah, he was a fantastic dude, Bradley Noddy, and he's an actor. And he told me, he was like, dude, they were lifelong Florida State fans. That's why Derek ended up going to Florida State. So he was one of my favorite players, and he still is one of my favorite players because of that backstory, because he cares about the team, he cares about the culture. He wanted to go there and play, and he played at a time when a lot of the guys there wanted to be there. So they've changed a lot with this transfer portal, NIL stuff. It's really just made the game, in my opinion, worse. Teams are going to lose more because people aren't motivated the way they should be. When you are motivated by pride and you want to show the world what you're capable of more than anything because you love something that much, you will always play better. That's just the way it is. You will always perform better in those situations. So, we got to get back to basics. I think you got to get, to recap this video, I think, one, figure out what Norvell's motivation is. If it's money, then give him the money and get him the hell out, because if he's not motivated to actually make this team better, then I don't know what he's doing there. I mean, I think he's a decent coach, but right now I can't tell if he's just checked out or if he's just not that good and he got lucky last year. Like, it's hard to tell because I don't see the same Norvell on the sidelines that I did last year, and that's what makes me nervous. But at the same time, you go back and watch highlights of, like, Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis was making plays. Like, he was an athlete. You weren't still seeing amazing protection. You weren't seeing amazing schemes. I mean, sometimes you just had the right playmakers on that team to take them and lift them to victory. So it's tough to say if that was Norvell or if that was just talent and passion in the players. But DJU was a mistake. A lot of these players, you would imagine a top 10 ranked team preseason with, everybody expecting us to make the college football playoff. You'd think they'd play a little bit better than this, but 1-8 is pretty fucking embarrassing. So I think for years to come, people will talk about this Florida State team and say this was a clinic of what not to do for a football program. The fall from grace has just been absolutely historic. It's one of those things you can't really even fathom a team being like this. And if you're not a Florida State fan, you're probably paying attention to it and you've heard about it, but you're not in it like this. But this is like statistically an anomaly. This is like winning the lottery of football, but in a bad way. This is just one of those things. Nobody goes from 1-8 hardly to an undefeated team either. But to go from undefeated regular season into a 1-8 team the next year, that's insane. So they need to figure out Norvell. I think they need to draft and recruit the right players if they can. I mean, obviously you're not going to get the drafts or the recruits now that you want, because a lot of these guys are not going to want to come and play here. But you got to do what you can and try and rebuild on a culture of people that have hope that Florida State can be a good team, So yeah, I mean, for me, it's been a rough season. I mean, the season's almost over, thank God. We got Notre Dame next week. I mean, I got faith every week. I still tune in and watch the games, but with Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek behind there, you're not going to see much going on with those guys. You're not seeing much for the talent. Toa Feely hasn't done anything. I mean, we can barely get 250 yards a game. I think UNC put up over 500 on us today. Defense is anemic. Our coaches are bad. I mean, it's everything. The only good part is our special teams. Fitzgerald will probably hit the NFL. And he might be one of the only guys out there that's really locked into what his job is. But yeah, everybody else on this team is pretty much expendable at this point. I think next year you're going to get rid of DJU. You've got Brock Glenn. You've got Luke Kromenhoek. And I think that's the thing, is you just got to go with those guys, see what they're capable of, get some more talent around them, and start from scratch. You got to really develop those guys. And see if they want to play for this team, because if not, and they're going to transfer anyways, I mean, do what you can. So yeah, I think that's what we need to do. I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you can, hit the subscribe button down below. We'll talk more Florida State hopefully next week. Whether we win or lose, we'll talk about it, because we'll be going into Charleston Southern, I believe. Then we got a bye week. Then we got Florida. That might be a little bit rearranged there. I'm not sure when the bye week is, before or after Charleston Southern. But either way, we got Notre Dame next week. It's going to be a bloodbath. And yeah, we'll see what happens. If we were lucky, Mike Norvell would just resign. He's not going to do that, obviously. I mean, that would be the right thing to do for a human being. But he's in a situation where he's looking at $70 million. Trust me, I'll go get my ass rammed at every press conference too for $70 million. I'll go in there and coach. I don't care. So I understand where he's coming from. And today was the first time I'd ever been in a chat room on the press conference YouTube channel, and the moderators are deleting comments and blocking people like left and right. So I think everybody's fed up with this. Everybody's tired of hearing from the fans, from the coaches, from the team. It's just everyone's frustrated. So yeah, this is a historic moment for Florida State. I can't even be mad. We're watching something that'll probably not happen for another 50 years for any college teams at all. Nobody. So Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys, though. Again, hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you next week. Peace out.